here live at the One Love Massive headquarters in historic Shaw of Washington, D.C. What's up, D.C.? Today, it's just me, Nikki MG, along with Jay Mills.
Wait a minute, what? Wow. Okay.
No, it is, I am here as per usual with the magical, metaphysical Jay Mills. What's good?
I like that sound.
That's what's good. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yes.
And I am also here with the lovely and powerful Janeese Lewis.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Excellent, excellent. And joining us from afar in the wonderful world of Costa Rica, our other show co-host and founder of One Love Massive, Molly Ruland. She will be there watching us. She will not be here today, but shout out to Molly and
Hey, Molly.
Hola.
and everyone in Costa Rica.
Hola.
Living life, enjoying life.
Pura Vida. That's their
See?
saying.
Yes. Oh, really?
Yeah, Pura Vida is like Costa Rica thing.
Dude, you've been to Costa Rica.
I have. I loved it.
You know what's up.
I know what's up.
When did you go to Costa Rica?
Ooh, probably like a year ago.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, pretty recent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have never been to Costa Rica. Have you ever been, Jay?
No, I haven't. My sister went, but I didn't go. She said it was beautiful though. She stayed in like the jungle side.
Yeah, that's what I went. You got to go. Like, it has volcanoes and like, all the hot baths and the hot tubs and things like that.
Nice.
And then you're in the real rainforest. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Not the fake one.
No, it's like real. No, when we went in there, they were like, okay, watch out. If anything happens, just, pause and like, just stand still.
What do you mean if anything
They were like, this is a real rainforest.
It's
so
teeming with life.
So if anything happens, just stand still
Don't-
and hope they don't see you. I'm like, what?
Right.
Yeah. Then we went on a tour. It was like the only person there, and me and my fiance both were there. And I was like, we're the black people. We're gonna die first. So that's that. So,
but you didn't. You made it back.
we made it back.
Look
That's
who
good
made
news.
themselves survivors.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, one day I hope to make it to Costa Rica. I've heard that it is a very beautiful place. And
Yes.
I've actually
Gotta
never
go.
been anywhere in Central America or South America.
No.
But that is not necessarily the topic of today's
Okay.
show. However, shout out to Costa Rica and to
Molly.
and to Molly. Exactly. So, usually we start off the show just kind of checking in more deeply about how our weeks have been. We haven't had the show air live in 2 weeks. I've been traveling. Molly's traveling now. We've been dealing with things, but we're back and we're very excited to be back. So there could be a lot that we need to catch up on. So I want to start with you, Jay Mills. What has been going on in your life? How are you doing over the last week or two?
Life is good. Life is really good. Really excited about this holistic health summit for women that I'm helping to coordinate in partnership with Howard University. It's taking over my life right now a lot, but it is just such a wonderful cause and just such a wonderful mission that so many people are on to take control of their health and preventative health care and eat to live and just be more connected with the natural way of life and mental health, physical health, financial health. All these different things are related. So really excited about that at the end of the month. And
When is that?
that's March 31st.
March 31st at...
Saturday, March 31st from 10 to 4. We have a natural birth workshops and
Ooh.
things for women of all ages, literally, the children, elderly, health screenings. It's going to be really exciting.
And it's going to be at Howard University.
Yes, at Howard University Hospital.
And where can
Towers
people see like a flyer or get more information?
www.womensholistichealingsummit.com.
Holistic.
Yes.
HOLISTIC.
Yes.
Not WHOL.
Right.
I don't know. I might have spelled that wrong. So what is it? Tell us one more again.
It's women's, the plural, but not in the way that you would. Never mind. Actually, it's the plural possessive. Sorry, too much of
Break
a geek.
it down now.
women's anyway, Women's Holistic Health Summit.com. That's WOMENS, Women's Holistic with an HOLISTIC, Holistic Health, HEALTH Summit. That's 2 M's and that SUMMIT.com. Please log on. Registration is free. Tell everybody that you know. For all the women and the people that love them and the folks that came from them, which is everybody. You should definitely be there.
Which is everybody.
Yes, Women's Holistic Health Summit.
Yes.
.com. Women's Holistic Health Summit.
.com.
Oh, almost had it. I messed up the rhythm. Sometimes, like with the baby brain, my brain is just like off a little.
You're like
step
making
or
a
two.
person.
It
takes your brain.
It really does. It's kind of been crazy. Like over the last week, working and stuff. Like I have, for someone at my skill level and years in the game, like what I consider basic tasks, and sometimes I just have to. I'm just like not sure of myself, and I have to look at it again and whatnot, and it's a little bit frustrating for me, but then I'm like, oh wait, I'm tired and I'm producing a life right now, so just got to do my best and keep moving forward. But that sounds like a really awesome. Is it free?
Yes.
Okay.
It is free.
That sounds like a really awesome event for people to build community, learn about themselves, learn about the resources that are available here in the District of Columbia, get more connected to Howard University. I love that public spaces are doing things to build people up.
You know?
Do we have some Howard graduates?
Yeah.
Here in the house?
Ain't you in the building?
What?
HU in the building.
Can't
I
claim
went
the
to Howard Law.
graduate seat.
I went to Howard Law School, but it's still. Do I still count as a Bison?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
I still gave my money to Howard.
That makes you
Still got
a
these
bison.
loans, right?
It's a legit question though. It's a legit question. It's a legit question though too, because actually maybe I'm being biased because like I didn't go to Howard, but I went to University of Maryland. But living here in the District of Columbia, I feel the Howard love and the camaraderie between folks that actually went to Howard in the undergrad. Yeah. If you're not one of them, like you're not one of them.
Oh my God. It's not that. It's a rite of passage that kind of happens when you go to Howard, where you do kind of end up knowing most of the student body that you attended school with. Starting as a freshman, there's that level of bonding that happens with the freshman dorms. All the freshmen are concentrated in a certain area, so you're gonna see everybody over time, and then when it gets into your major now and you're just seeing these same faces within the School of B or law school or whatever. Now, law is on a whole nother campus.
Yeah, man, we on West Campus.
Other side.
We in Hogwarts.
There's a West
There's
Campus.
a West Campus.
Law and divinity. And I mean, but it's like that period, like School of B, they like to joke and say that it's like a cult because of just how tight it is. School of College of Arts and Sciences, I think, is a lot more liberal, but then like when you get back into engineering and public health, they just stay in the valley.
Oh yeah,
it's where they are. You just don't see them again. So yeah, man, shout outs to Howard and all the great minds.
Am I allowed to say like HU, even if I didn't go there?
No.
See what I mean?
No.
HU.
Uh-oh. We just lost power or something?
Did we?
No. Should we keep talking?
Oh. I did. I was like, uh-oh.
So for those of you who are watching, it feels like the mothership just landed on the building and it like power surged everything. So I thought we shut down, but apparently we're still going. Yeah. So, anyway, like I was saying, I did not go to Howard. I went to University of Maryland, and I don't think we have a cool thing like that. We just have a logo of a turtle that says "Fear the Turtle."
Fear the turtle, man. Terps.
Yes.
Go Terps.
And our school is known for burning things and rioting. So, but excellent academics, great sports teams. So anyway, Janice, how has your week been? Your last couple of weeks? What's been going on in your life?
I'm still on the Wakanda high.
Yes.
We're all still on the Wakanda high. And then I just had a niece on last Thursday, so I'm pretty hyped about
Congratulations.
that. For Women's History Month, I have a niece. This is perfect. And then getting these petitions signed.
Hey now.
Getting the petition signed. I'm running at large. For the Democratic State Committee. With my slate members here. Nikki leading the way. And so, we got to get our signatures done by a certain time. So we just been out getting these signatures and walking up to people at Safeways and Giants and like, hey, can you sign my petition? So that's been cool. It's a little bit easier for me because I have at large, so I can get anyone in the city. I don't have to ask like specifically, are you Ward?
That Ward 5 thing.
Yeah, because you're running for Ward 5.
Right.
Yeah, so.
But your group only got like 100 signatures to get collective. We need to get like 1,000.
Yeah, we should have like a petition signing party, I think.
Agreed.
Yeah. People to get in, you have to sign our petition. And you have to be a registered Democrat DC voter also.
Yes, we're going to talk more
that's been
about
a fun
that.
thing, yeah.
For sure. For sure.
Yes, we love collecting petition signatures.
Yes.
Best part of campaigning. But we are definitely going to talk about that more in depth in the show since, we're 3 powerful Black women right here. We want to.
We're gonna start doing this the whole
show. we are gonna start back here though because I want to talk about Black Panther more, and I know everyone watching wants to talk about Black Panther a little bit more because, who doesn't? And I can't get enough of it, quite frankly.
This is real serious.
So, how many times have you seen it?
I saw it once, but I saw it in what do you call it when it's IMAX, when it's like big?
Oh, you
with
saw
the glasses on.
IMAX with the 3D.
With the 3D,
I
did 3D. So
extra experience.
It was an extra experience.
I look forward to seeing it again.
Wow, I want to see it in 3D now.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it. I want to see, what is it? M'Baku. I want to see him in 3D.
Yes, I want M'Baku to blow my back out.
Oh, yeah. So I would love to see it. I've seen it twice. How many times have you seen it?
I've seen it once.
Ladies, you need to see it.
I know.
I think I do need to see it a second time because you have to digest everything that happened.
Get into more of the critical analysis of it. But did you see it here in DC?
I did.
Where'd you see it?
Yeah, I saw it here.
I was at Mazda Gallery.
Oh, you went to the fancy.
Oh no, we were
uptown. You were like, let me see this film with some white folks and see the reaction.
There were none there.
Really?
Took the theater over. It was mad black. Shout outs to NY Kong and Martel Cognac and the curry chicken and rice and peas and plantains that they were serving. It was really nice.
Did you see outfits?
Yeah. I wore a nice outfit.
I didn't have any. We didn't really have anyone in full out outfit.
No.
That everyone was showing around the country.
Well, let me see. I went in my finest crystal and jewels.
Okay.
I decked myself out in my own way because Black liberation, do what makes you feel like you, right?
Yeah.
But I will tell y'all something super, super dope that went down in my life this past week. I went to Edgefield, North Carolina. You've never heard of it, I know. It's this little farm town off of 95, and I go there every year for the BOLD national gathering, and BOLD stands for Black Organizing for Leadership and Dignity. This is where Chi-Chi and I be hanging out all the time. And Aja Taylor, who y'all met on the last show.
We went to high school together.
Yes. So we went there, and there's about 120 Black organizers, leaders, advocates, researchers, writers that came together who are really focusing on transforming the systems that affect all of our lives, but in particular Black lives in this country. And we do some visioning about what our future could look like. And it was lit this year on Wakanda because the Black Panther movie creates space for people to talk about and vision an alternative reality for Black liberation. Yeah. And so 120 Black folks rolled up. They rented out the whole little Enfield, amazing. North Carolina theater. Mm-hmm. Everyone was decked out in their like African gear. One of the people even dressed up as Black Panther, like made their own outfit. It was dope. Rolled up in there.
That's the kind of place. That's where I wanted to be.
Yes.
Yeah. It was amazing.
That's the environment I wanted to be in.
It was amazing.
Definitely was dope. Being in a black place.
Oh man.
Yes. So we've all clearly established that M'Baku is our favorite character. Let me see. At least on the male side. I'm just claiming that for all of us. But actually, yeah. Who is your favorite character from the film? If you have one.
What's her name? Who played Chad Boswick's sister? Sister.
Yes.
Oh, the scientist.
Yes. Shuri.
She was awesome.
She's my favorite. Shuri.
Yes, Princess Shuri.
Princess Shuri was the best
Disney princess ever.
I mean, like, the best part is when she was like colonizer.
Don't sneak up on me like that.
Colonizer. That was the best part. I mean, from now on you can just use that word and
colonizer.
Yes.
It was great.
What about you? Who are you crushing on?
Definitely M'Baku.
Okay.
Wife of M'Baku.
Oh, you are claiming that.
You're the wife.
You're putting that out there.
I'm gonna go ahead. I mean, something about a big man that handles business and takes care of his family and takes care of his kids. And his kids was vegetarian.
Oh, that part was so great.
That's when you had me.
You were sold a vegetarian.
Oh man, barks at white people when they speak out of turn. M'Baku. I love you.
Yes.
M'Baku. M'Baku, my back out. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and yeah. Okay, I agree. Just made me a little uncomfortable though, but I agree. But that is one of the reasons that I loved his character so much, because he brought up the vegetarian aspect that a lot of Black people are, but you don't think of us as vegetarians, but we be throwing it down in the vegetarian scene. And also what I loved about the movie was the fact that the heart-shaped plant, it was like this herb that was the source of their power. And so just like talking about reconnecting with the land and the earth. I also loved that in the beginning of the film you saw I think it was the princess Shuri. Shuri. And maybe another character, like I saw images of meditation in the film as well as Black people meditating. So I was like, oh, there's like all these little gems about like how we pave our way to like liberation, like today, that they are using in that film, which ties in nicely with what you're doing, at Howard, like teaching people about holistic health practices. So I like that there was that imagery in the film,
And I like the focus on the ancestors. Like,
absolutely.
There was a lot of paying homage to your ancestors, and like, and whenever they introduced a new person, they prayed to the ancestors. I thought that was a good, part of it's a huge part of our culture and what things that we do as far as focusing on our ancestors and learning from them, from their mistakes too, because you saw he was like learning from his father's mistakes, but also taking lessons from him, and that's something that's important for us to do, to just learn from our ancestors' mistakes, but also learn from them as far as like guiding us to where we need to go in a direction. So
absolutely,
I really loved how. Well, first of all, I want to say I feel that Killmonger was right, but his method was wrong, and just from being familiar with the comic book story and the cartoon series that BET had done some years ago, And one of the storylines that they chose to do with this and how they kind of, for a long, Claw was not the villain, the ultimate villain in this movie. And there's a question that I feel is silently asked of people, of children of the diaspora, as we look at this system that was created, this imperialism that had colonialism that led to capitalism and whatnot, like all of these forces that are against us and the sabotage that they do, where you have Killmonger kill Claw. Now we look to see, how do we sabotage ourselves? What do we have to deal with within our community that is not, it's either, maybe it's because of what they've done to others in terms of the people of Wakanda that chose to stay out, you know? And I think that there's this silent feeling that many African Americans, or again, children of diaspora, have felt about Africans in terms of the suffering that they have had outside of the country, and feeling like, yo, like, when were you going to come help?
That's right. Yes, that's
like,
how I feel.
At what point
No.
were y'all gonna mob up and see what's good with the millions of people that have been taken? You
That's
know,
how
when
I
we
feel,
see
yeah.
with the guns and all this different violence that is just self-inflicted, we see with these countries the corruption that happens that you're doing to yourself. So it's like, there's a lot of anger that African Americans and other people outside of Africa have about the plight that they're in, and feeling like if they had that, and if they were there, and if we were this, then we would do completely different things with those resources. But the anger and the problems that come when you are blinded by anger and rage, and I mean, it's just so many different higher level concepts that exist within people of color, period. You know, the tribalisms and just, man, so many different things. But the power of women also, that was my favorite thing. My biggest point is, like, I don't want to say I'm not a feminist, but because of how white-led feminist movement is predicated upon taking power away from men, it was something that my soul just couldn't get with. You know, as much as I do understand that we have a lot of power that's taken away from us as women, I do not feel that power has to be taken away from men. And to see that, yeah, we were right, that you can be a warrior and still make a king freeze, you know, that he did not feel that, oh, I'm a king, so I can have the choice of anyone I want. He still had to court somebody, you know, the people who protected him, you know. It was just this overarching thing of women protecting men and being strong. Shuri, you know, just every woman was so strong and was still supportive of the men. I mean, yeah, it was such a beautiful thing to see. Like, yeah, we're warriors. Everybody's a warrior, and we're also peaceful though. We the way that we war is different. Our culture is different, and that's the final thing. I know my long tangent what I got for it, but the final thing was one that I feel as African Americans we have really exemplified, and it's the proof positive that we are a royal blood that cannot be destroyed. You just can't destroy it. We are so regal in nature that when left alone to our own devices, all we want to do is educate ourselves and succeed. Like, we are not trying to be violently conquering nothing. That's what we do. We travel and we spread music and good spices and laughter and culture. That's what we do. And seeing that, you know, in this country, from when we were first released from slavery, how the first things we did was start colleges, universities, churches, and businesses. Like, that's that's all we've done. So, you know, at the end, you know, for T'Challa to be like, yeah, you know, I bought this building, and to be like, that's not how you fight them. And that's the truth. Like, we cannot fight them like that, because that's not, it's a cultural battle. You can't just do what they did. You can't become the oppressor. Yeah. So just, you know, a word to fighting with love and education. Knowledge is power, yo. Black Panther will.
Do you think this will improve the relationship? When I talk about the tension between, like, Africans and African Americans. Because when I went to Ghana last year, and I just got back from South Africa in January. When I was in Ghana, I went to the Elmina slave castles, and I did feel kind of a sense of this anger that you're talking about. Like, wait, you guys you forgot about us. Like, I'm African too. I know I can't tell you exactly where I'm from, but I'm African too. And there was always been this kind of, disconnect between Africans and African Americans, and then being like, you're not African, and us being like, well, I don't know what I am. And that's the truth. And I think there was a lot of, people wearing African garb to the Wakanda movies. Everybody had on kente cloth, everybody had on stuff. And it's like, okay, this is cool because Wakanda is a fake place, but like Africa's your home and it's a real place. And it's actually that beautiful. When I was in South Africa, when I was in Ghana, I was like, oh, they're just hiding this place from us, literally hiding it from us. Because if you go back to Africa and you see how beautiful your land is, our land is, you want to go back home. So I think I'm hoping that people don't just have this moment of pride where you wore African garb for Wakanda and now you forget about Africa. Our anthem, the Black anthem, says like, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land, right? And that is Africa. So like remembering that and kind of constantly bringing that back to the forefront. So I'm hoping this isn't like a moment, just like a small moment for people where they have a pride in Wakanda, in the sense that Wakanda is not a real place, but that they have a real pride in Africa from going forward. You know what I mean?
Two things. You were asking about, is this film going to maybe improve or impact relationships between Black folks in America and Africans from the various countries? And just from watching, like, I don't know. I really don't know, because first of all, the movie Wakanda is supposed to, or I'm sorry, Black Panther, the location of Wakanda is supposed to exist in Africa, but I think only 2 of the actors in the film of the stars are actually African. The rest are American or from the Caribbean, and so
British.
Yeah, and British. Yeah. And so I don't know how. And even though Stan Lee is an American comic book writer, and a Caucasian guy too, I just don't know like what the analysis might be from people from the mother continent.
They came out full force.
That's what I mean.
The representation and a lot of care was taken. One of the things that I just was blown away with was the care that went into the costumes, because the tribes that were represented were purposefully chosen. Not only are they real, but they are known for keeping their authenticity in spite of the colonialism. Especially all the different tribes of Ethiopia that were represented. So it was just to see them stay true to that, you know, with the Queen Mother with the Mali with the earrings, like it was not a costume. It really was true to all of these different amazing cultures that exist right now. And I think that's the universal thing that comes with it. When I think of Africa, I think of a white Africanus, and I know that's not the name of that land. That is not that land's name at all, not even in the slightest. So I feel like maybe that's why we're drawn to Wakanda, because it's no more real of a name than Africa was, honestly, but it's more spot on with what we know Africa to be, what we know our place, what we know our potential to be. We know we built the pyramids and we had some space age technology a long time ago, like on some Star Wars shit. This is not far fetched. We really did know the universe. Like, we created astronomy,
and that's what I think is most important or impactful about the long term, that I don't think that this will be just a moment, because you know, there are a lot of films about Black folks in America, and a lot of the films are related around slavery or our emancipation from that, or the civil rights and the struggle for that, or it's like a Tyler Perry Medea film. This film,
Medea.
I don't even know. I saw like one or two, and I was like, womp womp. But this film in particular is in the science fiction realm, and so it stretches the boundaries of what we can imagine is possible.
Yeah.
And so I think that is what's really impactful, in particular for young people and children watching it and loving the film and kind of identifying with the different characters, being inspired. Who knows what visions of liberation they will imagine and how that will impact us for generations to come. I think movies like this, authors like Octavia Butler, really help us to stretch our imagination and the boundaries of what's real. Shout out to Octavia Butler. Shout out to Adrienne Murray Brown, my mentor, who has a group called Octavia's Brood and actively helps freedom fighters envision something different than what is.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I think that the film, I hope that the film will be impactful in that way. But it is also not the Wakanda show. We're actually here today to learn more about you, Janeese, as someone to... Oh, wait a minute. I think I just got a message from Chioma.
What'd she say?
She might be here, but she might have left because it's 20 minutes ago. We need to get Chioma on the show, actually. I don't know if she's still here. But we came to learn more about you. And actually what the three of us are doing, running this election on the DC Democratic State Committee. So before we jump into you, let me just educate folks a little bit about what we are running for.
Oh, yeah.
And then you can tell us your story and why you're doing what you're doing. So, folks who are watching, this June 19th, there is the DC Democratic primary election. You have the chance to go out and vote for the DC Democratic State Committee, different ward council member positions that are up for re-election or kicking them out and getting someone new in there, as well as for the chairman of the council and the attorney general as well.
Yeah,
coming up. So it's a and the mayor.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and the mayor, by the way.
By the way, the mayor. So this is a major election for DC this year. So we encourage everyone to vote in June 19th. And then again in November for the actual vote. But here in DC, but here in DC, because the electorate is like 98% Democrat, the primary election really sets who is going to win in November. It's pretty much a wrap after that. So please turn out and vote on the 19th. So the three of us, Janeese Lewis, Nikki M.G. Lewis, Jay Mills, we are all running for the DC Democratic State Committee. What the hell is that, you ask? So the DC Democratic State Committee is a body of elected officials who are responsible for representing the overall democratic values in the city. What that means is they are responsible for voter education and outreach, letting them know what is happening in the city, legislatively, politically, making sure that citizens like you who are watching are informed and know the avenues to get involved, to elevate your voice in things that matter here locally. It is the job of the DC Democratic State Committee to also advocate for statehood, as DC is still not a state. We are allowed to vote for the president, but we do not have representation. You see all of our license plates that say taxation without representation. So, we can go to war, we can vote for the president, but we do not get a congressional House of Representatives or a senator representation, and that's kind of whack. So it's our job to advocate for that. It is also the job of the DC Democratic State Committee to represent DC at the DNC, the Democratic National Convention, and vote in the selection of a presidential nominee, or vote to impeach or get rid of a current one. And lastly, it's to hold our government accountable to our values. And so the three of us are running to get on this committee for a number of reasons. So today we just want to give you all an opportunity to learn a little bit more about Janeese in particular, who she is, why you should vote for her, and what values y'all share in common with each other. So Janeese.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up, and what was it like?
Yeah, I grew up uptown, Washington D.C.
Hey.
So I grew up on 2nd and Kennedy Street, so the Kennedy Street, KDY. What was KDY like growing up? It was like the KDY from the Go-Go songs, not like,
First,
yeah.
KDY.
Right. I was the
Hey,
real.
pause. Can I give a shout out to Backyard for going to Ghana and rocking out just now?
Oh my God.
I cried when I saw the first video that they did. Y'all shed some thugs.
It was so amazing, seriously. Yeah.
It was so beautiful. They were performing at what was the castle?
The Elmina.
Yes. At the Elmina Castle. I don't know if it was just the vibrations of the ancestors.
It probably was. I mean, it gets deep there.
Oh my God.
It gets real deep there.
I'm like,
So-
why am I crying? But anyway, yes, Uptown, KDY.
Yes.
Ugh.
Yeah. And so also, my family's from, speaking of Shaw neighborhood, like my mom and dad grew up on 13th and T Street, like the real T Street. Before T Street was this neighborhood that it was. So like imagine, I don't even know what's on the corner, like the Compass Rose and all that. Like none of that was there. It was a flea market on U Street where the or all those apartment buildings are.
I miss that flea market.
Yeah, man, it was a great flea market. Grandma used to take me up the street to the flea market. Yeah, like, my family is what I get to say, like real DC, you know what I mean? Like my mom and dad literally lived across the street, like my mom and like 13 kids, her siblings and my dad. And so,
Big family.
Yeah, man. And my grandma, my grandma was like was a lunch lady in DC. So that's how I end up going like to Deal for middle school. My grandma was actually a lunch lady. She's like, oh yeah, my granddaughter's going to Deal for middle school. Like she's
doing that.
Yeah. Forget these boundaries. She's up there. I want her to have this exposure, this opportunity, which ended up turning out really great. And so from Deal, I went to school without walls.
Okay.
And so when I was, I'm an 80s DC baby. I think that's important if you're an 80s DC baby, because it means like Marion Barry was the mayor most of your childhood.
Yeah.
We had like a short period where Sharon Pratt Kelly was there, but like Marion Barry was like our mayor for a while. We had like a regular school board. So Dr. Janie, like Peggy K. Fritz was on the school board. And back then we had a student representative. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Rest in
RP.
peace, man. Wow.
Yeah, she just passed.
Yeah. And William Lockridge used to be on there. So RP to him. He's huge. William Lockridge did so much for Ward 7, Ward 8, that whole area. So rest in peace to him as well. And so, and then I grew up uptown, but I went to church in Southeast over at Union Temple Baptist Church. So, under Willie Wilson, right? So like, having those two dynamics
DC,
of like, you know what I'm saying? Like, uptown here, Southeast here, and really, what that means, what that looks like, and, what that means for the city. So, I start back when I was in high school, we had a student representative on the Board of Education, which I think they really should bring back, So like we, two people from each side, like got to be on the school board and talk about like really have a voice. And that was mostly by Peggy Cooper K. Fritz and William Lockridge was like, yo, let's have young people. How are we gonna have a school board with no young people on it? So that's something I think we should bring back. I'm all about that.
How long ago was it that they...
I think when they did that transition, so between the Williams and Fenty years, I think that's when we
Those were some dark times.
I don't talk right.
Williams,
but
Fenty.
back then they had two members from two student members, and we actually we didn't get a like voting power, but we had we got to they allowed us to talk about what we thought we should vote on.
You were like the Eleanor Holmes Norton of Congress, but of the DC
school board, right? But at least we had a voice, which we deserve to have a voice.
Absolutely.
And so I'm always about, I always am so encouraging of getting students and civic engagement involved at a young age. Shout out to Mayor's Youth Leadership Institute. I know a lot of great people came from there. Tyrell Holcomb, who's on our slate as well, was in Mayor's Youth Leadership Institute. But just I'm all about getting youth involved, civic engagement early. And in addition to that, the school system and quality education. Not the fact that the only reason I was able to go to Deal was because, my grandmother, and the only reason they wanted me to go there is because of the fact that, they had a better opportunity, better exposure. And I think we need that equality and opportunity and exposure across the board. I don't care if you're in Ward 8 or Ward 4 or Ward 2, you deserve to have the same opportunities and same educational opportunities as well. And then obviously, I think the Democratic State Committee for a long time, because we're Democrat, because DC is a Democrat city, we get comfortable, we get comfortable. And so we're like, well, we don't really need to do much because everyone in DC is Democrat. But there's this thing where you need to have a level of accountability, right?
Yes.
So what does it mean to be a Democrat? Are you voting for, what are you voting for? What do you represent that are actually aligning with our democratic values? Are you voting for public housing and ensuring that people, people in DC, that we have available public housing, especially with the wave of gentrification? Are you ensuring that the people who were here before, can they actually afford the taxes on their home? What are you voting for, and what are you actually representing? So I think there hasn't been a level of accountability, and I think kind of the Democratic state, we kind of forgot that we had that accountability. And so I want to make sure we bring that back, and we start holding anyone who is a Democrat and running as a Democrat accountable even before they get elected, and when they're in office, that we're making sure they uphold their values to what we believe in the Democratic Party. And so that's another reason. I feel like I could just go on. Our slate is so amazing. When I learned about Nikki, which obviously vote Nikki. When I learned about you and Chi told me about you, I was like, yo, I want to be on the slate with her because I see someone who is a young and ready to change and make a difference in DC. And we're tired of being comfortable. We're not in the land of comfortable. We're in the land of changing, making differences, holding people accountable, and I had to get on board with that. And so that's just a little bit about why I'm running with you.
Yeah. Wonderful.
I feel the same way. I feel, that we need fresh energy in the DC Democratic Party. We need to hold these mugs accountable. Did you know that, for example, right now in the DC City Council, our chairman, Phil Mendelson, is trying to get rid of TOPA, which is basically first right of refusal. If you are a tenant in a building and you've been living there a long time, you've been renting, and then the building owner wants to sell your building to have it redeveloped or whatever, currently you have the right for the building owner to ask the tenants first, do you want to make an offer so that you can keep where you live? And our Democratic chairman is just trying to get rid of that right whatsoever.
That's horrible.
Yes. And so I want to do this to make sure that the DC Democratic State Party is used as a platform of accountability, like you were saying, to be able to testify, to be able to put out public statements, to actually get in the office of and challenge the people who are legislating for us, who are the mayor's office, who are making the decisions on things, to challenge them on some of this. Because you're right, because DC is 98% Democratic, what that actually means is a very wide gamut of values. You know, you can have people like me who are further to the left, and then you have more fiscally conservative Democrats who sway to the right and feel like light Republicans at time and make things very slow and take people's rights away and value profits over actual people, even though we have a ton of money in the bank right now. And so I'm excited about the accountability part of it as well. Tell us a little bit more about your democratic values.
Okay.
What's important to you? I know that for all of us, like, we don't have the solutions to actually fix magically all the things in our city, but the values that we have will govern us in the decisions that we make and how we interact with other people. So what's super important to you? What do you value?
While you were talking, I had one thought, and I was going to pause for DC tag, because that's one thing I wanted to bring up really quickly. But why statehood is important, because they're about to take DC tag away from the DC tag and DC cap program that gave all of us money to go to college. And that's a huge issue right now. And so I just wanted to shout that out because everybody's been talking about it. But
so you value affordable,
obviously,
free education.
Obviously, I value affordable, free education. So I just wanted to put that out there so that we can, get that started. That I was a beneficiary of DC Tag and DC Cap, so we have to keep those programs. So I value, affordable education. I talk a lot about equality in the schools, and what that looks like, and as far as like exposure. I did, back in the day, I did Upward Bound, and when you talk about the differences between the reason why I was able to make it out of Kennedy Street and someone else wasn't able to make it out of Kennedy Street, and it really had a lot to do with programs. So like, I'm all about after school programs, any program that is there to help our kids bridge the gap, like, HAP, Higher Achievement, City Year, whatever, in Upward Bound program. Howard still has Upward Bound. I think Trinity does too. Whatever it takes to, get our young people to have a better opportunity, and better exposure to that. Obviously, I'm for statehood. Taxation without representation has always been a huge issue, but because people don't realize, people just think it's all about us, the vote in Congress, and they don't understand the part about congressional oversight and how congressional oversight affects us. So way back when, well, even probably still now, I used to be involved with an organization called Metro Teen AIDS, which is still going on in Eastern Market right now. I used to be a peer educator. And back then, there was a program where we were trying to do the needle exchange to kind of lessen, the AIDS rate here in DC. But because we had congressional oversight, Congress was like, no, you're not going to do that. DC's not allowed to do that. Even when DC was trying to get dispensaries in the city, and everyone voted on it, and Congress was like, no, you're not doing that. So people don't realize that even and sometimes when it comes to sentencing and bail reform and things of that nature, we actually don't have the power as a city to our own power to talk about what sentencing minimums and mandatories we're going to have, sentencing guidelines, right? So, it seems like it's just a vote, but it's not just about just a vote, because Congress has oversight over so many of the decisions that we are supposed to make ourselves as a city. And if we made the decisions would be different than the decisions that Congress are making. So we're talking mandatory minimums and sentencing as far as that to, us trying to prevent and lessen the HIV/AIDS rate in DC and effective ways of doing that. So it's not just about a vote. It really is about this congressional oversight and us not having the power and the ability to do that. So kind of bringing that attention to the forefront, because I think when people hear taxation without representation, they're thinking small scale and they're not really understanding large scale. So bringing that back. Another thing is transparency. Is a value of mine, because I think when you are in a public position, you're a servant to the people, and the people have a right to know what's happening and what's going on, and how their money is being spent, and where it's going,
transparency, and disappearing,
and yes, exactly. So that is also huge. Just having that transparency. When there's no transparency, that's when you need to worry.
I mean,
pause on that.
I'm worried right now.
Right now, that's what I mean. And pause. Reasons why we're worried, because there is no transparency. So definitely huge on that. I feel like I'm going to go on a rant.
No, it's for real. The transparency is real. Two things. So I didn't mention at the beginning of the show, we had promoted that Stuart Anderson would be here with us today. Statehood is something that he hugely cares about.
Yeah.
Particularly because of the congressional oversight with how we deal with returning citizens and prisoners and rehabilitation. That is his expertise and issue area. And so unfortunately he wasn't able to join us for tonight's show. He had a family emergency, but we will make sure to get him on another show so y'all can learn more about that perspective and what's going on in the city. But in terms of the transparency, I may have said this on the show before. I may have not. I don't know. But I just have to share 9 years ago, when I first started organizing restaurant workers here in the District of Columbia for higher wages, paid sick days, justice on the workplace. I started attending these workforce development council meetings where basically all the folks who were working on job training and job placement across the city would come together because they wanted to help each other and, you know, not send clients here, there, and everywhere for this. They're trying to collaborate. And they were supposed to get like $40 million granted from the city to run their different programs. And the very first meeting I entered, they were trying to figure out what had happened to the money because none of them had gotten their money. They had not been granted the money from the government. And it just seemed to have disappeared. It seemed to just literally disappear, and you couldn't get any answers. And then I think it was shortly before or afterwards, I don't know, Harry Thomas and Kwame Brown and Michael Brown went down for some misappropriation of funds. That's the polite way to say it. Yeah, they had bought some like Cadillacs and yachts and stuff like that apparently, and went to jail. So I don't know if that's where some of the money went or what have you, but things like that happen in the DC government. And so you know, I value transparency, not just in like, you know, who's meeting with who for what, and when the public is able to engage in political discussion. I care about like, can we get the blockchain technology in the DC government to actually track what is happening with our money? Because, you know, the fight for different programs in the city that help people like live and get out, like that comes from our tax money. And if it's disappearing, and then we have these developers and like rich people and special interest groups advocating that they need this tax cut or this tax abatement or this plot of land, you know, or they need to take over this building, it affects the city's budget. And for sure. And then that affects, you know, how the funds are allocated. And so I want transparency. But enough about me and transparency. Jay Mills, what do you really value, and why are you excited to have a seat at the table in DC?
I value the opportunity to be the change that I want to see. I'm a very revolutionary kind of person.
Okay, Obama.
You know, I talked earlier about, you know, imperialism, colonialism, and all these things, but I'm also, as the avid scholar of history that I am, aware that we, as in people of color, indeed civilized the world. Those who had forgotten that they were human and that the earth was round and had to rediscover everybody else, and were surprised to find that everyone, no matter where they went, was a melanated individual. Knowing that politics and all these things and refixing that, because I feel like people of color systematically have kind of looked at the system and politics as if it is not for us, it was never meant for us, and there's nothing that we can do. So this particular position, with it being one that educates people about the voting process, about how and when and where to vote and all these different things, and then taking it even further and how just that opportunity, I'm looking forward to that opportunity just to educate people about local government. It is a course that no longer is forced to be taken by kids. And at my age, looking at, I didn't have to take the civilian test or whatever, civics test. We took it, but it didn't count. It has just stopped counting with my age, and I'm 32. I'll be 33 on my birthday. So no kid born in the 90s took a local government class, and they're all over 21. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much that people do not know. You don't know what your comptroller is. You don't know, there's so many different positions, especially with DC. You don't know who your ANC is, or people don't even know what ANC they live in. They don't know what ward they live in. They don't know when it meets. They are just so disconnected. And I really feel that I'm a real person that people have. That I touch a lot of people. I know a lot of people, and just by being in this position, I know that it makes it real that, you can do this, and even in people not even knowing this was a position.
Yeah.
To run in. Just running is educating people about local government in and of itself. So I'm so super excited to be a part of this slate, a part of this change. So many different people from so many different walks of life that all are focused on the same mission. And I'm very big on that. It's all about the character, all about the principle. Yeah. So often our community falls because people are trapped in a person and not the principles.
Absolutely.
And we're fighting principles.
Right.
Where it doesn't matter who's in power. They got an agenda.
Right.
So word to the agenda and those that are for it, and bringing the power to the people.
That made me think of another thing is outreach, as far as we have so many colleges in this small city. We have all these colleges. We have kids, graduating from high school every day. And one thing that the Democratic State Committee needs to do is engage young voters, get them engaged from the beginning, from the time they graduate till, as soon as they get out the gate, they should be engaged and civically involved. And that comes with us being transparent and also reaching out to them. And that's what I mean about getting out of this comfortableness. We're so comfortable, like, oh, well, DC's Democrat, so Democrat. No, like, let's get to the young people so they know what it means to be Democrat, why they should be Democrat. You know what I mean? So that's those two go hand in hand, us being transparent and us and reaching out to them, and also with our slate being as diverse as our slate is, and
super diverse
and just, genuine people, with different vibes, but vibes that people that, young people can actually vibe with and stick with and stand by. I think it's just, it's our slate is an opportunity to actually engage young voters, and will engage young voters.
Absolutely.
And get them to stand with us and stand with, democratic values.
Yes, our slate, speaking of how diverse our slate is, I'm so impressed by it. We have folks from basically age 24 to
so true,
almost 65, and all in between. Black folks, white folks, Latino folks, just it's super diverse in ethnic makeup and age, and from all wards of the city, and from all backgrounds of life. We have people like myself who have been organizers and advocates. We have people like Janeese who have been doing community service, working with the youth, working in the Attorney General's office on the legal side. We've got folks like Jay Mills who've been educating folks about the benefits and the safe usage of cannabis, who are artists. We have small business entrepreneurs like Molly Ruland. Shout out again to One Love Massive. We have just an amazing group of real authentic people that one are not paid unpaid who are doing this because of the reasons you've heard today and more. Because we want to put our values back into democracy. We want to build power for regular people,
Power to the people.
on the national level and the local level. Just values of racism, xenophobia, just straight like pure capitalistic profit. They're entering in a big way, not just with Trump, because it was there before, but he's like the epitome of this, you know. These kind of values are impacting now in a really detrimental way our governmental institutions. You know, we've got the wrong people in the EPA. We've got all of a sudden offshore drilling, you know, what we said we never would. Like crazy shit is happening, and that's like not even the tip of the iceberg. And then here in DC, you know, we've got people that say that they're Democrats but are not funding the programs that help
public housing
develop
programs,
children,
like health programs,
Voting against it.
child
care programs,
housing for the homeless. Like things just keep getting cut and cut.
It's just like, how democratic are you?
Right, you know, so
question mark.
It's time to tip the balance to not have, you know, profits more important than actual people, but to get people above that. It's actual people that are our most valuable assets, that actually generate wealth, that actually generate resources and ideas that take us into the next generation. And if we don't fund people, then, you know, we're just gonna keep widening the wealth gap, keep degrading our environment, keep letting our public institutions die until we're in a really bad situation. And so us three awesome Black women from the DMV, we got two native Washingtonians, someone originally from Maryland, but hey, I'm totally a Washingtonian. Absolutely. I've been here 13 years.
You've earned your stripes.
I've earned it. I have some skin. You know,
you didn't earn the HU Bison, but you earned your stripes with DC.
No, I was here. I've been organizing low-wage workers for almost a decade, and improved and helped, you know, build power for the people. So we increased our minimum wage. We got paid sick days for like people that serve your food at restaurants that really need it, for working moms. You know, we worked on some wage theft prevention. So did you know that like if your employer stole money from you, like they didn't pay you your wages, they stole your tips, some of your money, that before like 2 years ago, you didn't have the right to like ask for your money back.
Wow.
So you have that right now. If you've been stolen from by your employer, you can ask for your money back. And there's people at the DC Department of Employment Services who are supposed to help you win your money back transparently. We need to work on implementation though. Yeah. Okay. And a whole host of other things, you know.
Good news.
It is good news. There's a lot of great things about the district. What do you ladies love about the district? We've been talking about what we want to change about the district. Why do you stay here? Why do you want to commit to putting yourself in the wolf's den of DC politics and fighting to make it better? Why do you love it here?
I love DC for so many. I mean, I love DC because of the people and the pride that has always come with being in DC, and the music in DC, the food, you know what I mean, you know, it's just, you know, this people don't realize it. There's a small, like, people think of DC as a small, like a big city, but there's like a small town within DC, and that small town really does operate on a, you know, have my neighbors back, and knowing your name and having, you know, your neighbor. It has a lot of old values still, like a lot of old school values. So, and that's the part about DC that I love, that there's still a family within DC. So it's not just a city with politics. There is a family within that, and it instills so much pride in the city. So I love all that about the city.
Straight up. What about you, Mills?
I love the culture.
Yeah.
I love DC culture. I love my carryouts with chicken wings and mumbo sauce and half a steak and cheese.
Ketchup, salt, pepper.
Salt and pepper on my French fries.
Yes.
It's a steak and cheese, not a cheese steak.
Yeah.
You know, I like my White House to end at Benning Road. I like
the big chair.
You know, I like the juxtaposition. It's just so real. It's like, welcome to the nation's capital. There's a crackhead and a homeless person and somebody fighting and protesting. This is America. You know, like
I love the tribes of DC. Like Uptown is a tribe. We should really break it in. You know what I'm saying? Like Northeast is a tribe.
It's so tribal.
It's real tribal. We're like Wakanda for real. We got like whole different tribes.
South, because it's not even the way that it mobs up. Like for instance, you on 2nd, 3rd and Kennedy.
Yeah.
You know, versus 9th and Kennedy.
Like 2nd and 7th, 9th.
Right.
1st.
Right.
5th. Lord, it's so
but
many.
It's all KDY.
It's all
let something happen around Clifton.
Yeah.
And you know, now it's something different. But then it's all uptown. If something happens,
it's like 1-4 Shepherd Park. You're like, what?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's different things. And that's what makes DC special, is that there's all these little tribes within, you know, within it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. I love it. I love just how cultural it is. I love how we just have this whole, you either from the city or not, you know, like in the not so distant past, it was an insult to be on some Maryland shit. Or to be like from Virginia. Like that would be.
I got a lot of Maryland friends.
I do too.
Shout out to PG.
Hey, shout outs to them.
Shout out to Cocker Ave, Damo.
There was this whole, like, we all had the cousins that came in the city, and you know, people want to claim DC. They want to claim it like they from here, and it's like, you grew up in Largo.
Wale did that. He did the whole DMV. Like Wale created the whole DMV thing. He was like, you know what?
But that's how tribal DC is, because as crazy as, you know, well, you from South, you in the South Side, you're not Uptown, but whole time they'll all come together and be like, but we're DC.
But we right, yes. So you can't come against us. Like when I went to school, I went to school in New York, so like, you know, when all the DC people got together, it was like, oh, wait a minute, squad, or, you know, Brooklyn, Queens, everybody was all shouting out. We like, we from DC, and we don't care. We don't care about your Brooklyn, Queens, Harlem. We DC. What's up? What's up?
Right.
It was a thing. It was a thing. Yeah.
Shout outs to Howard and all that. That's when, like, I feel like when you go to school, your area becomes bigger. That's when it's like, all right, yeah, your DMV represent Virginia.
Yeah, you squad up for sure.
Squad. Yeah, shout outs. I know New York suffers from that also. That,
that
DC thing with people who are not really.
What? Really? They're crazier than that. So like, there's like a mutual respect though, because it's like, oh, y'all are as crazy as we are. Yeah. Cool.
They claim in New York. Yeah. And you grew up in Teaneck.
Right.
Come on.
Right.
You're close. You're really close. But you're not
in New York. Yes.
Stop it. Exactly.
But you know, I mean, I live in DC, in Ward 4.
That's right, up the street from me.
And I've lived
Quintana.
Straight up Quintana. I've lived in DC proper for 13 years now. But before that, I will tell you, my whole life, I wanted nothing more to be in the District of Columbia.
It's cool. You're like, what tribe am I joining?
Like, I lived in Maryland. I lived in the whiter parts of Maryland, and, you know, just my mom, she would never want to drive into the district because of the traffic and stuff, but I was always like, why won't you take us in there? I just want to see the black people. I like really just wanted to be around blackness, you know? And so as soon as I got to University of Maryland, I was in DC every weekend, acting like, this is my city, I know this place. And then as soon as I graduated from Maryland, I moved immediately into the district. First neighborhood I lived in was Southwest. And it was beautiful and real and a little bit dangerous too, but it was awesome. And
sounds like DC.
Yeah.
And you know, I feel like I'm that outsider that like really wanted to be a part of the clique, you know, so I worked really hard.
But not Killmonger. You know, like,
no.
You come with peace. You come in peace.
I come with peace. I'm here to help. Hey,
Michael B. Jordan, shout out to you.
He looks so good in the
and
film,
your
though.
bottom lip. Hello.
Yes, bottom lip.
His little like hairstyle, like to the side with his glasses. It was a cute look. It was a cute look.
Bury me with my ancestors.
He went out like a G
He
though.
did go out like a G.
did.
Like, yeah.
But I can't wait for the next one. You know that they're gonna have another one. You saw the previews at the end of the film. Can't wait for that.
It's gonna be amazing.
But you know what, white people who are watching, if you have not seen Black Panther, go see it because there's something in there for you too. I'm gonna tell you, the white people. First of all, the only two real white characters in the film were from Lord of the Rings. Shout out to all my Lord of the Rings fans out there. Yeah, that's right. I love that shit. Fantasy. J.R.R. Tolkien. What's up? Yeah, that's right. What was his name? Claw? That was Gollum, yo. That's Andy Serkis' Gollum. He just totally transformed into like you. I was like, I know that face. That was Gollum, my precious.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Precious.
And then the other white dude who like, well, I'm not going to give the story away if you haven't seen it.
Colonizer.
The colonizer. I mean, he played a great role in the film, although I'm like, what's he going to do in the next one?
He didn't have a great role.
But he's also, he's like the original Bilbo Baggins, like the young one. So if you, because I know y'all are out there who love Lord of the Rings, go see Black Panther. If you're white,
sneak up on me like that, colonizer.
No, it's not a
I'm
film.
gonna start asking people. Is your friend coming? The colonizer friend, not the other friend. You gonna know what I'm talking about too.
Colonizer.
You're gonna know what I mean when I say it.
The point is, there's something for everyone in the film. Go see it, debate about it, talk about it, say what you love. And that's the thing about Black love. If you are pro-Black, it does not mean you are anti-white or anti anything else. It just means you have Black love, and that's a position that we have to deliberately take in this current white supremacist, racist, super capitalistic culture.
That's the one part I did love about DC, because I went to deal in school that wall, so we're very, very, very diverse on that end. So it was kind of like a utopia, which kind of spoiled me because I was used to, white people who were,
colonizer,
not racist, and we all like lived in this kind of utopia where we like respected each other's cultures and all these things.
That's the dream.
And then when I leave DC, I'm like, wait.
See,
there's a problem,
and that's why I was always trying to get in.
I was like, wait, there are issues. I mean, what are you talking about?
Yes.
We were everywhere. We were at cotillions, bar mitzvahs. We were living it up, and everybody. We were just quinceañeras. Like, we had the whole everything, and everybody was vibing. We were in each other's quinceañeras, cotillions, and then
I was just talking.
I left the city, and I was like, wait a minute, you guys don't. You don't vibe this way. All right, cool.
Y'all are segregated.
Yeah, y'all real segregated. So, I love that part about DC as well.
Me too. That's why I wanted to move here. I love the Blackness, but I love the international flavor. I love that I could walk down the street and hear different languages being spoken. I love that I could go to different clubs and bars and just see everyone blending and like jiving together. I love that I have progressive-minded people from all races and ethnicities from D.C., Maryland, Virginia. It's here. And as soon, like, you go over to PG
Pennsylvania
and Montgomery, you're still safe. But then outside of that, when you get to Frederick and Allegheny,
as a Southeast,
it gets scary, y'all.
It gets scary.
It gets scary when you in DC and you leave your tribe.
I feel you.
It becomes an adventure.
I feel you. It does.
Going to a different gas station than the one that you're used to.
Yeah, no, but it's true. And it's like a lot of DC kids, like if they leave, certain parts, you go to another part of DC, you're like, is this DC? Yes. It's like, yeah, you're in the same.
There are people in Southeast that have never really been to Georgetown. Like all up in and around. I'm not.
Is that a public transportation
They're like,
issue?
No,
not even that. Let me not say that because Southeast will go to Georgetown, Friendship Heights,
Tinleytown, Friendship Heights,
American U. That part of Northwest is not traveled. There are people who are native Washingtonians that have never gone to none of the museums. Not one of the Smithsonian nothings.
Yeah, but then people also haven't been on the other side of the bridge, unfortunately, to see. Like, we got Frederick Douglass House. We got there's so much stuff on the south side that people, Southeast Tennis and Learning Center, shouts Cora Berry. But people don't even go to the other side. There's so much to see, and everybody's just staying stuck in their tribal
They're
land. You know?
Yeah.
But then nobody goes to Waldorf though.
No.
That's where you get.
Waldorf
that?
Airlines.
Where's that?
That's where the wild
Psych,
turkey
shout out to Dama once again. Sorry.
Well, speaking of the richness,
It's a fortnight
and
away.
A fortnight, a fortnight, and then you
can't.
commandeer.
You couldn't date. You back in the day, you couldn't date no one who was from. Well, where you from? Oh, I can't date you. I'm not going to Waldorf.
Yeah, I don't
There's no
even
way
know.
I'm going there.
You have to travel part of the Oregon Trail to get to Waldorf.
Wow.
You got
And
to
you
ford a
might
river.
get dysentery along the way. But speaking of the jewels and treasures of what's east of the river, before you get to Waldorf, though,
Long before.
it's time for our
You get to Baltimore before you get to Waldorf.
really. Shout out
We
to
gonna stop
Baltimore,
though.
though. But
Man, we got more love for Baltimore than Waldorf. Go ahead.
It's just closer, that's all.
for real, I don't know where Waldorf is. I've heard of
That's what
it.
makes it.
I've definitely
so
heard of it. But it is time to transition. I want to do a business shout out and then get into our metaphysical moment because I'm excited for that. I need that in my life. But today we want to shout out the Anacostia Arts Center. It is an awesome place. Follow them on Twitter. On Instagram at Anacostia Arts. I want to shout them out because last Friday they let us film in there and make a cool video for our slate, which, by the way, we haven't even said what it's called. Okay, on June 19th,
Oh yeah.
vote for the Dump Trump Dems for Action. And this is a slate of 40 people who are all running together, who are just as awesome as the three of us up here and super diverse. We're going to have more of them on the show. But we hope that those of you who are watching will vote for us. And you can find us on Instagram and Facebook as well. By searching for Dump Trump Dems for Action. So back to the business shout out. Shout out to the Anacostia Playhouse. Arts Center, the Anacostia Arts Center.
I just followed them.
For letting us film there. And we'll be shooting out that video over the next couple of weeks. You can see me and Marcus Batchelor, who are at the top of the ticket running for National Committee Man and Woman. We actually slap Trump in the video. It's kind of cool. And it's symbolic of, wanting to get these bad values out of our democracy. So we'll be circulating that around. But the Anacostia Art Center is a great place. There's some awesome Black-owned businesses in there. Shout out to Vintage Charmed.
Yes, Nubian Apparel.
Nubian Apparel. I also took a very affordable small business class there. So they host all kind of educational opportunities. I've been to the most awesome parties there before. The Black Love Experience is coming up.
I missed that. I saw it last year and it was okay.
Yes. So they hosting things
a
like
great
that,
place.
It's a really great place. So check them out. They've always got awesome events going on. And, as Jay Mills said, she loves the culture. We're for the culture here in DC, and that's a beautiful cultural house. So follow them, love them, visit them. And, also while we're in Southeast, let's shout out the Union Baptist Church.
Oh, Union Temple Baptist Church. Shout out to Reverend Willie F. Wilson. Also, he just congratulations to Reverend Willie F. Wilson. He was inducted into, I'm gonna get the word right, the Civil Rights what do you call it? Hall of Fame. He was inducted to the Civil Rights Hall of Fame I believe this was this past weekend.
Hey,
So shout out to
Willie
him.
Wilson.
That's so well
congratulations
deserved.
to
Definitely
him.
well deserved.
I love that church because
The mural.
Yes. Yes. If you have not been to Union Temple Baptist Church, you need to go there. Enjoy a sermon. But if you are Black, you've never been in church, you need to go in that church because it's a vision of Black liberation mural and
Yes.
glory printed
Awesome.
right there. And you just don't see that in a
Shout
lot
out
of
to Reverend Willie F.
spaces.
Wilson, Reverend Anika Wilson, Mary Wilson, the whole Union Temple gang.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And you know what? We got to shout out Marion Barry again, too, because
Marion
that
Barry,
was his home church.
That was his home church, absolutely.
And he did also, we just got a really awesome statue
that he
dedicated
deserved,
to
absolutely.
him.
Mayor for life and beyond.
Mayor for life.
Mayor forever.
That's what I meant about the
Yes.
80s DC native kids. Is like, that's our mayor. We
Yes.
don't know no mayor.
Well, now you can wave to him on Pennsylvania Avenue in front of the Wilson Building, which is actually pretty dope.
Does the Reeves Center still have his name on it, though? Really?
It better.
It better. I love when I go down there. I'm like, if Reeves Center's still here, still has Barry.
I know they were trying to tear the building down or wanted to renovate it,
Don't talk about
but that was controversial, so we need to follow up on that. But,
Yeah.
I'm one of those DC kids that thought that we had two mayors, Mary and Barry.
Yeah, you know what? That is fair because that's how everybody said it, Marion Barry.
Mm-hmm.
So you thought it was Marion Barry.
I did. I was like, those guys.
those guys.
Yeah.
Here comes Mary and Barry.
Where is Marion Barry? What they doing? That's funny. I never thought about that. That's hilarious.
I may have thought that as a child too.
Yep.
Actually, I may have thought that until like adulthood.
Did you think Southeast was Southeast, or did you think it was a T? You knew it was a T.
No, I knew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you think that there was a ghetto Disney World somewhere on the other side of the Beltway?
No.
No.
Are you talking about the Adventure
castle?
World? Wait,
No.
what castle?
It's like, you know what I'm talking about.
Did you think there was a ghetto?
You know what I'm talking
Yes.
about.
Look at your face.
You
You're
ever
like,
seen
what?
the ghetto Disney World? You ain't never seen the castle of Wonderland? Like,
It's there. You see it. When you first, she's
when you
seen
had to
it. She
have
just
seen
don't
it.
remember, right?
There's two of them. It's like a blue castle and there's another one too.
the golden
The gold
castle,
one is
the
like, you
Cinderella-
know, the
Magic
Cinderella one.
Kingdom, dog.
Man.
What is that in real life? A church?
This is the Mormon. Yeah, it's a
Oh,
Mormon temple.
I knew
Yeah.
that. Fun fact. That is a
Oh.
Mormon temple. Okay. I thought it was a church. I mean, I figured it
I'm-
was a church, but I thought it was like a mega church. I didn't
I
think it was
definitely
like a
never thought it was
a Magic
Disney
Kingdom.
World. I always knew it was for the Mormons, and
Really?
I don't know.
You
Always.
always knew it wasn't for you?
Lord.
Yeah, I never.
definitely was like, yo, let's go there.
I don't know.
What's over there? How come we ain't never gone there before?
I guess I was just told. I never actually went up to see.
Do you remember
it.
when there wasn't a national stadium?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Because I used to live in Southwest before
Okay.
it wasn't there. Shout out to Nation. It's no longer there. It's my favorite place to rave.
No longer there.
But yeah, with that, because we don't talk about that anymore. Let's transition this show
Okay.
Snaps. We're ready.
to the metaphysical moment.
Okay. Oh man, it's another moment to get metaphysical with Mills. I've been meditating on the moment. As you all know, I don't premeditate these moments. I love to be inspired by the love that I find here in the One Love Massive building and the lovely co-hosts and guests that we have each week to kind of give you all something fresh that motivates everyone. You know, I share notes to myself, man, and I'm just thankful that people feel me, yo. Shout outs to talking to yourself. So with that thought of talking to yourself, I wanted to focus my message on the power of words. As we are coming into this new season, this spring is just around the corner. It is a time to clean out old things and make way for new things and new growth and new goals and new life and manifesting. So you can get in the way of your own manifestations by losing on the power of your words, the power of your thoughts, and the power of your intentions. You can water them down with negative thoughts about yourself and others, wasting your mind with negative thoughts about yourself and others. And there are these questions that I've been thinking about a lot in terms of kind of stepping up my own manifestation and my power. For those who are with me, I know that you feel me. If you're a manifester, you have a connection to the universe where you see the same numbers almost every day. You have the power to think about somebody and they call you. You say their name and they call you. You wonder about this person and you randomly run into them. You look at your phone and then it rings. You have this connection already to the universe. And how do you make that stronger? How do you make that weaker? What does it really mean? You know, we really truly are all connected, and the power of our mind is so incredible. It's so incredible, but you cannot fool yourself. The truth is known on the level that you can perceive it. And if you think you can, you can. People say that all the time, but it's true. If you truly believe that you can to the point where you do not think that you cannot, then you can. But oftentimes we lie to ourselves with our actions. We say that I believe I can do this, but in truth, you don't think that you can. Maybe you have a dream that you are working on, but you are working on a plan B job and you're treating that plan B like it's your plan A because you don't really believe in your plan A by the very fact that you are acting in this safety net. You are saying that if I don't make it, and just in case you already are losing. You already are undoing the power of the manifestation of your dreams by immediately doubting yourself. We got to stop that. You got to walk on faith. You got to dream and let that be that. There are words that we use such as try. Try doesn't even exist. Either you do it or you don't. Either you can or you won't. And we lie all the time. I'm going to try and make it out. Are you really? No. At that moment, you know that it's either a yes or it's a high no. Can you tell your truth? Are you afraid? What truths are you afraid of revealing? And as you start to walk in this truth in everything, as small as the question is, how are you doing? Do you tell the truth? Do you really tell the truth? I love to share my truths, and my truth can be too much for others, but so are my dreams and so are my blessings. We have got to stop diminishing ourselves and diminishing our light and diminishing our power and diminishing our thoughts and all of these different microaggressions that we have, all these different things that we do, where we live in a small and silent lie, where we omit a powerful truth. All of these things weigh in on your power of manifestation. So when you think something, when you see this connection, you give thanks to the all and you declare that you are great. You really are connected to the universe. You really are magical. The universe is listening to everything you say. We are all divine creators. And in this Women's Month, I'll go ahead and put that maternal energy on it. It's something that we both have as humans. You know, every human did start off as a female. And then later on, you know, some things fall off and come on out. And, you know, that double X loses a piece. It becomes an XY. And there you go. But shout outs to Nikki as you form a whole human being inside you right now. You're forming lungs and skin, and it's an amazing. Life is not a given. It's a gift. And there are so many points that things cannot go right. It is a gift. We think that you can take a baby back like shoes. Doesn't work like that. This universe is very, very planned. Your birth date, your death date are very, very sure. And if you come in this world thinking that, well, you know, your life was just by happenstance and there's nothing miraculous about the fact that you can see and you can hear and you can talk and you can think. You think that there's nothing spectacular about the fact that you can hear, that you have a sound mind, that you are logical, that you have a sense of humor. Do you not realize? We don't even realize the blessing that we have to be alive and to be present. So you always are manifesting. You cannot escape this. If you want to you think nothing, you have nothing. You cannot stop being the star that you are. Even if you choose to turn your back on the rest of the galaxy that you're a part of, it doesn't change the fabric of your supernatural being. So I always like to say, you know, if people gonna hate for no reason, give them a reason. You know, the only person that has to believe in you is you. That's it. It's only you. It's only you. And again, with the illusions and dwelling in things that aren't and messing up with language, we love to talk about who wasn't there, what they didn't do, what they didn't say. You get angry over something that literally did not happen. It's an illusion. You're not even thinking about who was there and what these people did do, what you can do, what you should do. You would rather spend the power of your glorious mind dwelling in illusions. This word, it was for me. And it's for you if you feel it. There is power in your words. There is power in your thoughts, and you should guard them. No one can control you but you. You have this beautiful power to express yourself. Do it wisely for the manifestation of the beauty of all, yo. That's my metaphysical message for the day.
Yes.
I received that.
Yes.
I received that.
Manifest.
Manifest goodness
Manifest.
all the time in love and light and truth.
Yes. Believe in yourself. Believe in us, actually, and help us manifest our
Yes.
goals and dreams. Vote for us
Manifest.
on June
Manifest.
19th. Yes, manifest. Help us manifest your values back into DC and national government. Vote on June 19th. Vote for Janeese Lewis. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming on our
you.
show tonight. You're awesome. You're
Thank
beautiful.
you.
I love
Thank
your
you.
ascot tie or pussy bow blouse, depending
Thank
on
you.
what you
It's
like
from
to
Zara.
call it. Yes,
I got it on
fabulous.
sale from Zara Amazon.
True.
Yeah.
Working girl, thank you so much for
Thank you
joining
for
us
having
on the
me.
show.
I had a great time.
Hey.
Thank you for
And we're both Lewises,
running.
technically.
Yes, we are.
So when you see us on Lewis, just keep
vote
going
for
the
it, just
Lewises.
keep voting for
Just
Lewis.
keep seeing the Lewises.
And then
Dems
and
for
then-
dump Trump.
yes. Vote for Lewis and Mills June 19th.
Yes.
And
good Lord.
Mills, thank you so much for that beautiful metaphysical moment. I hope everyone absorbed that. Believe in yourself. Go to bed. Go on to the next party. Fill in yourself. Be happy. Twirl on your haters. We will catch you next Tuesday with another fabulous show. Until then, Black love.
We out.